Hi, I'm Kaylee, and these are the books that I read in April. I had a fairly decent reading month in April. I read 17 books. 10 of those were children's picture books. I read 3 nonfiction. I read 2 middle grade and 1 classic middle grade and a classic graphic novel. So not a terrible reading month. Before we dive into the books that I read, I'm gonna reach back here to our booktuber shout out book, and we're gonna shout out somebody randomly. Today's shout out goes to the Becca Fowl. I will leave a link to their channel down in the description, so be sure to go over and subscribe to them. And please do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and give this video a big thumbs up if you had a great reading month in April. Just literally, if you read anything at all in April, that counts as a good reading month. So I'm going to start with the classic middle grade that I read, and it was That Boy Johnny. This is by Evelyn Rae Sickles, and this was one of my favorite books when I was a kid. I must have probably read it 9 or 10 times when I was a girl. In the beginning of the book, Johnny's grandmother sews a new pair of pants for him, and she hangs it out on the line to dry. But the wind is so strong that it blows the pants away, miles and miles away, and Johnny is terribly disappointed. So for most of the book, Johnny and his sisters are just getting up to mischief on the farm, and it is adorable and fun. I just love all the characters. I love the sweet old-fashioned writing style. I always give this 5 stars. All the rest of the books in this video are books that I received from the publisher in exchange for a free and honest review. I read Hunters of the Lost City by Callie Wallace. This is about a girl who has grown up in a city with walls all around it because there are magical monsters outside the city walls. Years and years before, there was a horrible plague that wiped out everyone in the world except for this one little city. But when our heroine ventures beyond the walls, she discovers there are people outside the walls. They had assumed that everyone died from the plague, but now she meets a girl outside the wall. I really loved the world building and the magic and the characters and the adventure, and everything was so interesting in this book. The further that our character ventures beyond the walls, the more she starts to realize that her world is not all that it appears to be. And we make those discoveries right along with her, so there's a lot of great plot twists and interesting things that happen. I loved the writing. I just loved these great emotional characters. It was so amazing to see all the great character development and the relationships between different people. This book really just had everything that I could want from a magical adventure. I gave this 4 stars. I read Cress, Watercress by Gregory Maguire. After her father dies, Cress and her family move into the basement apartment of an oak tree. Her mother struggles to pay the rent, and Cress is annoyed by the snooping neighbors. The landlord is a grumpy owl, and there's a large family of very rambunctious squirrels. However, the animals all band together whenever danger is near. The story is interesting, and Cress does have some really fun adventures, but the general mood of the story is not fun and adventures. It's not a happy book, really. Cress is depressed and grieving for her father most of the time. Cress and her mother fight all the time. It just got annoying how much they fight. Cress does find some healing in the end, and it kind of ends on a hopeful note. But I don't know, it just felt really sad through the entire thing. The plot is sort of disjointed. The world building isn't very well explained. Overall, I just kind of found this book weird and depressing, and I gave it 3 stars. I guess I was looking for something more lighthearted, and this just was not it. I also reread Sense and Sensibility from Manga Classics and enjoyed it even more the second time. This manga follows the original story pretty closely, and the artwork is just so beautiful. I loved seeing all the pretty costumes that the ladies wear, and it was interesting to see the different designs for different characters, especially the villains. You know, people like Lucy Steele had really almost grotesque facial expressions. The artwork is just really good at bringing forward these emotions into the scene. Marianne Dashwood is the epitome of drama. She spends most of the book crying and just, collapsing and weeping in tears. It's completely over the top dramatic, but Marianne is over the top dramatic. I think it's really brilliant how this classic story is condensed into manga form without losing the integrity of the original story. That's very important to me. It's so much fun just to see Jane Austen's stories brought to life in manga. I gave this 5 stars for the second time, 5 stars. Then we have some of the nonfiction that I read. I read How the 7 Wonders of the Ancient World Were Built. Temples, pyramids, tombs, massive statues, and of course, a very cool lighthouse. These incredible constructions stood for hundreds of years, and archaeologists and historians have tried to piece together the clues of how they were built and why they were built and who built them and for what purpose. I just love this cool book. It's like diving into history. All the designs and the artwork and everything were really cool. I mean, it's just so attractive. It really captures your attention. I gave this 5 stars. I also read Wolverine, which is all about Wolverines and their habitats and their hunting, and how they scavenge behind other predators, how they raise their young. There's even a section about how Inuit tribes will traditionally use Wolverine fur to line their clothing and to make gloves. I really liked the artwork in this book. It was just really interesting. This is actually part of a whole series about different animals, and I think I read the one about elk or something. Was it moose or was it elk? I'm not sure. But this is a really cool series. And I also read Life Skills 101, All You Need to Know But You Won't Learn in School. This book covers topics like emotional resilience, relationships, self-esteem, health, managing your time, reaching your goals. It gives practical advice for navigating common pitfalls of adult life. I really like the attractive design of this book. Every page has really brightly colored artwork and graphics. The text is broken up into small little paragraphs that makes it easy to read. And I thought it had really good advice, just about general things in life and how to be successful, how to find happiness in your life. My only issue with this book is there is no mention at all of spirituality or morality. And without spiritual fulfillment and without strong morals, you're never going to find fulfillment and success and happiness in life. It just felt like there was this philosophy of life that was being presented in here, and there were pieces missing. It does have some good common sense advice in here about implementing positive thoughts and building good habits in your life. It does have some good ideas, but I personally believe that those ideas will not work if you ignore the fact that you have a soul. I still gave it 4 stars though. It has some good stuff. Then we get to all of the picture books that I read. I've got a list over here. The Think Ups, that one was cute. Pretzels de Yoga, which is in Spanish. Quizás. Zoom Farm Adventure, Gloria's Porridge. That one is an Ethiopian folk tale. Really cool. The Dancing Trees. I See the Sea, Sand Between My Toes, Yoga Adventure, and a book that's just called And. And those are all the books that I read in April. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know what was your favorite book that you read this past month. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.